Hello everybody, Luke back once again, this time to break down everything you need to know about Amazon's Alexa supported assistant before you buy an Echo device or any device that contains an Amazon Alexa assistant built into it. Now, Alexa is a very powerful, very useful tool, but it does have certain limitations. There's certain things you need to know about before you buy it that I find a lot of first-time buyers may not fully understand or appreciate, and then that can lead to some disappointments when you eventually get it. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down 5 things you need to know so that when you buy an Echo, you have a realistic expectation of what to expect. First though, if you're new here, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, and hopefully we can help you learn something new. All right, let's dive into this. Number 1. Your Alexa powered device is always listening to you, but that's not a bad thing. Now, many people who don't have Alexa powered devices or Google Home or one of the other smart AI assistants often complain about the fact that it's always listening. Well, it kind of has to, or it can't do its job. If it wasn't listening, it wouldn't be able to respond when you talk to it. Now, the good news is you do have control over that. Few things: you can turn off the microphone and camera at any time. There's a button right on it. You press the button and the microphone goes off and it can't listen to you anymore. Second is you can delete recordings. You can actually just tell your Echo to say, delete what I just said, and the recordings from your last 10 minutes were deleted. Or you can tell it at any time just to say, delete everything I've ever said, and it will delete all your voice recordings off the system. Now, all your voice recordings are encrypted, and you can go in there and control how that behaves. This allows your Echo to better improve over time and become a better device if you allow it to record it, or you just delete those recordings. The good news is they are encrypted. Just you and Amazon get access to that. Now, you can also tell it if you ever get to a point where you're like, why is it doing this? Why is it doing that? And you can ask it to read back what it heard. Just say, Alexa, tell me what you heard. And Alexa will read back your most recent voice request. That way, if you ever get a time where, hey, it just triggered a music file or something, and you're not sure why, you ask it to play that back, and it will go ahead and do that, letting you know why it responded the way it did. So keep in mind, if your Echo is not listening to you, Alexa can't respond. And the good news is you have control over your recordings. You can always just remove them if you so choose. All right, let's move forward to number 2. One of the big things I tell people who are buying one of these voice assistants is to lower your expectations. Now, we've all seen movies out there where you just say something and it does all these crazy complicated commands for you, where it will check you in for a flight and do this and do that. And while your Alexa assistant is very powerful and will do a lot of things, it's still a fairly new technology. If you think back to the early days of cell phones, compared to what we have today, they're a lot more advanced and they're a lot more robust and work better. Now with your Alexa device, it's kind of the same thing. It does a lot of things. It's great for playing music, radio stations, podcasts, answering basic questions about the weather and what's happening. If you enter the information of where you live and where you work, you can even ask it what the drive time is, and it will notify you of accidents and other things on your route. And it can also notify you of severe weather, other big things happening around the world. You can play news and more. You can use it to control your thermostat if you have a supported one, lights, and more. Now, the downside here is expectations are too high. If you go in there thinking, oh, I'm just going to plug this in, it's going to work, right? All my lights will suddenly work with it and more, you may be disappointed. Now, it can control the lights if you buy smart plugs and you connect them. Some devices do support it, a lot don't. But if you go in there with a reasonable expectation, I want a device that's going to answer basic questions, how many cups are in a gallon, for example. How long does it take to drive from my house to work? What's the weather today? What's the weather tomorrow? Those kind of things are going to be great. If you're expecting it to cook you dinner, you're going to be disappointed. I do find a lot of the complaints I hear about these assistants are the fact that I thought it would do more. And while new features are being added regularly, it is a struggle. Now, over time, I've gotten my house pretty smart. I can control certain lights. I can turn fans on and off. I can even tell my Roomba vacuum to go clean up the kitchen or something, which is all very useful and great. But even with that said, there's still a lot of things I wish it would do. It just doesn't. So lower your expectations, realize this is a developing technology, and you'll be fine. All right, number 3, Alexa is not perfect. Now, much like lowering your expectations, there will be times where you will tell it to do something and it'll be like, I don't know what you're meaning. And the reality is it's still learning. I can't tell you how many times I've asked a question one way and had to change it another for it to work. It's amazing how sensitive it can be at this stage. Now, with that said, it's getting better. When I first got my Echo, I can't tell how many times I would say, play this radio station. And it'll be like, oh, did you mean a podcast? No. Play, FM 91.3 or something. And it would play AM 1300. That kind of stuff happens often. But today, it's much less prevalent. Very rarely when I ask it to play a radio station or a song, does it mislisten or misreport it. So keep that in mind. Your experience will vary, but it's not perfect. Realize it's getting better every day, much like your cell phone did when it was first released. Number 4, one of the more annoying things I wish I could to remove was the fact that Alexa will try to sell you stuff. I can't tell how many times I will be asking the weather, and then after it does it, it will say, hey, Father's Day's coming up. Would you like to look at some Father's Day gift ideas? For example. So that is a little annoying to say the least. But I have noticed that they've toned that down a lot recently. I do like, though, that like if I order a package on Amazon, they can at times give me alerts about it, which is a pretty nice feature. Package is delayed, your package is this or that, which is a nice feature to keep up to date on it. But do remember, this is a Amazon product. It's tied into Amazon. It's definitely going to promote Amazon services. Now, a lot of other things work with it. And this should be a number 5. But number 5, not everything works perfectly with your Echo. For example, not all music services work on it. Though the vast majority of them do, you may want to search to make sure yours does. Now, I actually use Amazon Music, and I find that one is probably the best integrated. We do have others like Apple and Spotify and TuneIn and more out there. So make sure your music service, your streaming service is supported with that if you're looking for that kind of stuff. And a bonus one. Now this one surprised me, but it happens quite often. Your Echo actually needs Wi-Fi. I've had more than one person over the time I talked to say, oh, I bought this. How come it doesn't work? I'll be like, do you have Wi-Fi? And they will say, no, I don't. I got a cell phone that gets internet. Well, your Echo needs a Wi-Fi network. Seems small, seems simple, but is surprisingly a common question or concern. So keep that in mind. You will need Wi-Fi, and dial-up is probably not going to be the best to stream audio. So there you go. 5 things you should know before you buy your first Echo. I hope this video helped you. If it did, leave me a comment. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. Check back for another video real soon. We'll be back again very quickly. Thanks for your support. I appreciate it. Take care, everybody.